What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the series where I go ahead and try to give you guys the most helpful tips to help you improve and work past the current matchmaking that's in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Again, I understand it's extraordinarily thick, and these tips aren't going to, make you a god, but they're more so tips to help casual players be able to tolerate the current matchmaking that is in place. They're not too complex. I might go ahead and make a video in the future of more, advanced tips, but all the tips I'm going to go ahead and lay out for you guys are just things that any person out there, working nonstop, going to class all the time, or just, maybe hopping on COD for 30 minutes. It doesn't matter what you do. These tips will help you improve without having to, sit there hunched over, straight sweat mood, having a bunch of towels in the back to dab your forehead. Now, none of that nonsense. Again, if you just want to casually hop on, these tips will help you be able to compete with the current player base in Call of Duty. Of course, if you want to go ahead and get around skill-based matchmaking, you can go ahead and reverse boost. You can two-box, the game here, buy 2 copies for 2 different platforms, reverse boost on one of the accounts, and then go ahead and, lobby, join off of that bot account, and you can get some lobbies that way. You do as you please. But again, this video is specifically for players who don't want to go through all that stuff and just want to simply, play the game. And even if you want to improve, this will help you improve. But of course, very quickly, if you guys do enjoy the tips in today's video, make sure you leave a like to help, spread this video, help other players out, and subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified for more content just like this. We do post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. And last but not least, we do stream pretty much daily besides Sundays. So we'll be back on Monday. But if you guys want to catch that, I stream over on Kick. Got a link to that down in the description of this video. All right, so tip number 1. It's a little bit more hyper-focused towards PC players, but of course, console players can go ahead and give it a shot, and don't worry for console players as well. All of these tips are for you guys. This is literally the only one that I would say is a little bit more towards PC players. But PC guys, fix your posture. Seriously, I understand that you're gaming and you want to kick back. But if you want to kick back, play something on the TV while you're in bed and laying back or something. But if you're in an office chair or a gaming chair and you're sitting there at a monitor or something of that sort, sit up, please. And this isn't just for gaming in general. This is just for your future health. I'm begging you, because I feel like a lot of gamers get into that bad tendency. And, it's going to mess up your posture for life. So make sure that you have this habit in the back of your mind. And it will improve your gameplay. I'm telling you, if you're using a mouse and keyboard, your gameplay will drastically improve if you fix your posture. And if you do this enough times, week after week, month after month, it becomes a habit. You form a habit. And it won't feel like work to sit up while you're playing the game. And, you'll just naturally play good, and you'll naturally have a good posture. All right, next tip, though, like I said, this is moving over to everybody across the board. This tip will help you guys improve when it comes to tracking, getting back on target. I feel like a lot of players, especially when they're casually playing, and they get a little bit distracted, they kind of phase out of the game and just kind of let their mind run it in the background. And one thing I would suggest for this is hyper-focusing on the center of the screen for, 1, 2, maybe 3 games, and that's it. This isn't something that's going to take, ages to do. It's just to, refocus your sightline on the most important factor of the screen and, get you into that mindset again. And again, this isn't something that you're going to have to sweat to do, right? This isn't something that's rocket science. All you got to do is just look at the center of the screen and, let your vision kind of, feel out where the enemies are. And then when you do see an enemy, snap it to the center of the screen. And if you do this enough, like I said, 1, 2 games, that's all you need. You don't have to do this for hours and hours and hours. You can go back to, what you're regularly doing. You don't have to hyper-focus the center. But you'll notice that you will start snapping to targets a little bit easier because you refocused your sight line on what is crucial. And again, you can bounce back and forth. You'll be looking at the mini-map, looking back to the center. You'll be looking down at your ammo, looking back to this. But again, you're not going to be phasing out into just the nothingness of what's in front of your screen. And then when you see an enemy, you're going to try to snap on, but you're not snapping on correctly, and, so on. So basically, you're just refocusing your sight line. This next one is going to sound a bit crazy, but hear me out. Fire before you aim. A lot of people always ADS before they shoot their gun, right? I mean, it's common logic, but something that helps with your reaction time from what I noticed. And again, you don't have to do it 24/7, just a couple of games, just to, warm yourself up a bit and get yourself in the mood to play some COD. What I'd suggest doing is shooting your gun the second you see an enemy, just straight up firing. If you miss a bunch of bullets, it is what it is. But what this does is it's going to train your muscle memory. It's going to make you want to get closer and closer to the target every single time because you know the second you see that enemy, you're already on the trigger. You're already firing. So you're going to want to get faster and faster and faster to the point that when you already fire the trigger, you're pretty much already aimed on the target. And it will train you, once again, to have a little bit quicker reaction time, and it will train your muscle memory, whether you're on controller or on mouse and keyboard. And once again, it's not something that's hard to do. You just do it for a couple of games and you go right back to normal where you just ADS and you just fire in general. But you'll notice afterwards that when you aren't always firing before you aim, you are going to be able to track a bit better. You will, because once again, your muscle memory will be fine-tuned. The next tip is a very crucial tip, and that is slowing down. Slow down your gameplay just a little bit. I feel like 9 times out of 10, people are convinced by these gameplay channels and a lot of these gameplay, things that they see all across the internet, that you can just simply run and gun like a maniac against people who are top tier players. Again, a lot of the clips that are posted online are clips against people who might not be in the same skill bracket, And we're gifted those lobbies every once in a while. And you can't say that you're not gifted those lobbies. Even though skill-based matchmaking is absolutely through the roof, you cannot say that you don't, on the rare occasion, of course, get at least one game where you can get some bots up in there. And again, with all the reverse boosters nowadays, it seems so many people are reverse boosting. I don't understand why. Again, like I said, I prefer to just simply play the game, just go about my business. If I get whooped up, I get whooped. If I have a fantastic game, I have a fantastic game. But back to the topic, I feel like people are watching these gameplays and they think that that is what you can do against very skilled players. But when you're versing people who are very competent, who know what they're doing, who can shoot their gun, who know, angles, who know spawn traps, you have to slow your roll. You can't ego challenge every single gunfight that you possibly see. And I know that's the Call of Duty mindset. That's what everybody wants to do. They want to ego challenge every single engagement. But sometimes playing defense is better than playing offense. It's always a popular saying that the best offense is a good defense. And it's the truth. It's the truth across the board in any game you could possibly think of. Think of fighting games, for an example. A lot of the time when you see two very good competitive players going up against one another, they might take their time a little bit. They might mess around a bit, try to feel out their opponents, see what they're going to do, see what their potential tactics are, what they're going to try to play. And the same thing transfers over to FPS games. Everybody plays different. Everybody has their own play style. Even though some play styles seem like they're exactly the same, which they are, but people still play differently, and you have to understand that every single match probably won't be identical when it comes to the sweat that you're versing. And you have to go ahead and adapt to that. You can't just full blowout, like I said, ego challenge everything and think it's going to actually work. You have to see what your opponents are doing, see how they play. And the tip that I like to always tell people to do is gradually get faster as the game progresses. Gradually, assert your dominance, basically. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to really wipe the floor and then go out and you can, ego challenge everybody when, they already lost hope and, they're pretty much done with the game. Yeah, you can run it up then and they probably won't even, care that much. But when you're at the beginning, you should be taking your time and, trying to build yourself up to that moment. And if you can't build yourself up to that moment, then that game is just simply not your game. But going out and ego challenging these, positions, these angles that enemies are going to be holding and expecting to win a gunfight every single time you do so is, I don't know what to tell you. Again, one of the best tips is to have a little bit more of a defensive mindset while still being a bit aggressive, Find different power positions that are effective in different game modes, domination or hardpoint, even TDM and kill confirmed. You can find good spawn traps where you can mow enemies down, still get a decent amount of OBJ, and, not die 50,000 times because you're egoing the worst possible, positions and serving no purpose to your team besides, just throwing your life away. And also, while we're on this topic, I feel like this next point kind of lines up perfectly with it. When you're playing OBJ, please, for the love of God, stop overpopulating the objective. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you see 50,000 people on the C flag, don't go and, join it unless you see a ton of, fight back and your team is losing. But you should be holding different positions than your team. Domination, you should be holding another flag or holding another angle to make sure that people aren't flanking or, pushing a position that could be completely left away if you are just, going and running around and going to your own action. It kind of goes hand in hand with playing a little bit slower, take your time and playing defensively, and noticing where your team is at on a minimap. And also, like I said, overpopulating the objective is just ridiculously pointless as well. Like in hardpoint, when I see, like if you're playing 10v10 and you see like 6-7 people in the hardpoint, you are absolutely wasting space. It's not like domination where you have multiple people on a flag and you take the objective faster. No, all you need is one person on the hardpoint and at least one other person out of the hardpoint right there to back it up if that person on the hardpoint dies. That's it. That's literally it. You could have 8 people everywhere else on the map holding spawn traps, keeping enemies away. But again, people are hyper-focused on, you gotta play OBJ. I need OBJ. I need OBJ. No, if everybody hops on the objective, all it takes is a couple of frags, a few RPGs, and you're all freaking dead. Yeah, you can have some trophy systems, but it's not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form, especially when you leave all the flanks open. And again, same goes for domination as well. When I see more than at least 3 people on a domination flag, absolutely pointless. 3, in my opinion, maybe 4 in a 10v10, but 3 I think is max. 2 is normal. But, seeing the whole team hopping on a flag, like B flag, for example, is mind-numbing. At least 2 to 3 on B, and have the rest of your team hold positions, hold spawns, keep the enemies away so you can actually capture it. If your whole team is sitting on the B flag, you're just going to get mowed down, and then nobody's playing defense, and, you see what I'm saying here? There's times and places to play OBJ. If you see your team not playing it, then yes, hop on OBJ. But, if you are given the role to play defense and hold away the enemies, hold spawn traps, and you have to play that role. You just got to. You gotta fill in where you are needed. And the last tip I can give players across the board is to lower their sensitivity. If you are having trouble aiming, if you're having trouble, being able to track targets and lock onto targets, lower your sensitivity. If you're on controller, lower it. And if you're on mouse and keyboard, you can also, if you don't want to just lower your overall sensitivity, you can lower your ADS sensitivity. If you like moving around with, your hip fire accuracy really fast and, doing 360s, but when you ADS, you want it slow, you could totally do that by just simply lowering your ADS sensitivity and keeping your base sensitivity the same at whatever you want. Either or, whatever you guys want, just lower it down a bit. It helps you track, it helps you stay on target, and it assists you with being able to be more accurate without having to actually sweat harder. When you have really high sensitivity, you have to focus 10 times harder on, how you're going to hit the enemy because you really have to fine-tune the accuracy. But if you have lower sensitivity, you can hold conversations, you can chill with your friends, you can vibe out, and still be able to track and flick onto targets with ease. But ladies and gentlemen, those are my tips for you guys today. Of course, I will have more tips in the future, but these are just the ones that I, have for you guys today. Ways for casuals to be able to, get through with the current day matchmaking system. Hopefully, we'll see changes to the matchmaking system. That would be phenomenal. And again, there are ways to reverse boost and, be able to get into bot lobbies. But if you are genuinely just trying to play the game without having to go through any exploits, you just want to, try to enjoy the experience and even potential to get better, these tips will help you do so with very, very, very minimal effort. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell if you want to be notified for more content just like this. And of course, last but not least, we do stream pretty much daily over on Kick. If you guys want to find that channel, I got a link to that down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.